And I don't think...
Alliance?
I haven't seen them ever.
S4 plays it. He's played them a couple of times.
I haven't seen. It's not like a common thing for them, at least. Yeah. That I've seen.
They said they don't utilize them very well, though. I've seen them play it a couple of times, but wow. So Alliance took the Wisp.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it would be a key hero in this series, but I figured it might be Fnatic who go for it. Now, I will say, Fnatic is probably one of the teams I think is most confident against Wisp. Like, not only do they run it really well, but they feel very confident about punishing a Wisp pick. And
yeah, that's the thing. When you run a hero a lot, you know exactly how to play versus it.
Yeah, because you have those frustrating moments of games where you're like, this is ridiculous. I can't deal with this. And then next time you play against him, you look, Alchemist, Timbersaw, very bursty heroes, lots of lockdown, and just heroes that can just instantly kill Wisp. That's pretty good.
That's a really good opener from Fnatic, though. This is probably one of the best openers that they're going to get, I'd say. EO and Enchantress, if they get hit by Unstable Concoction, they're going to be at like half HP.
Instantly. And Timbersaw is going to shred them as well.
Yeah.
And Wisp being a strength hero is doing her no favors there either.
It's going to be very important for the supports on Fnatic to get their job done early, though. If they let Alliance play passively, or if Fnatic plays passively and lets Alliance farm up and get levels, I think Alliance will beat them out, at least in the mid-game. So Fnatic needs to bring the fight to them early. We might see the classic CM Alchemist. Oh, actually, CM Alchemist has been removed. Crystal Maiden Alchemist, I think, is considered one of the strongest roaming duos in the game right now.
Yeah, it might be like the best support opening in this patch, or definitely one of like the top 5 combos, because the CM can jungle from level 1. They're both really strong at roaming. The Alch scares really well with farm. They've got a lot of lockdown, a lot of kill power. Like, they can pretty much do anything.
Yeah, that's the thing about this patch. It's you want to pick the heroes with most versatility. Alchemist, probably the most versatile hero.
Prophet's a great example.
Yeah, Prophet too. And Crystal Maiden, you can roam, you can babysit, you can jungle too. And not that many supports can do that.
So as far as Fnatic's draft goes, I mean, it was just the first 2 bans, but they did seem to target Bulldog here a bit. They banned the Prophet, they banned the Clockwork, and they took the Timbersaw. For Bulldog at this point, generally I would say like it's Bounty Hunter or Lone Druid are his more likely picks. We've seen some Elder Titan from him. It's been hit or miss. I don't think you can necessarily go for it now, because then you have 3 heroes that really have no stuns at all against Timbersaw. That's going to be tough.
Just need damage, man.
Get so much deep, so just one-shot everyone.
Well, I'm not really sure what Alliance is going to use as their duo for EO, though. If they do CK, like Alchemist and Timbersaw already have so much AoE that his images aren't going to be very useful, and he's not going to do that much damage versus Timbersaw anyway, since all his damage is physical damage based.
The big ones we've seen a lot in the past from Alliance are, well, I'd say Phantom Assassin. They really favored, but that was against physical damage carries, like to counter Lifestealer, to counter Lone Druid, perhaps.
Yeah, he should get wrecked against
just all this magic damage.
Right. You
can't evade that. The other one that we've seen occasionally is Riki. And of course, Tiny's like the most common carry pick to go with Wisp in this patch. Because unlike CK, he can keep up and farm, where CK can struggle a lot in that department.
Yeah, CK can't play the farm war, really. I mean, you can, but
you can like Midas and try to, but it's a losing proposition. And now Alliance will ban out the Bane. One other hero that's been ignored, that we've been talking about a lot, is Mirana. Mirana's still sitting out there. Not something that Alliance really runs.
They run it sometimes.
Not that common.
Yeah, it doesn't apply enough pressure early.
Like if Sigma was in this game, I'd say like they're definitely taking the Mirana. And Navi plays it quite a bit too, but I feel it's not as much of a popular pick for these 2 teams. Fnatic
bans out the Puck. Puck, I think, is probably the only hero that can get away from the Unstable Concoction. I guess Lifestealer. Lifestealer still takes damage when you rage, though, so looks like they want to get a lot of work done with the Alchemist early.
What a hero.
What a hero.
Seriously.
Alchemist, I mean, I thought he got nerfed last patch. I was like, oh, it kind of looks like nerf. Or I was like, okay, IceFrog knows that this hero is overpowered.
And he's going to nerf it. He's trying to nerf him.
And then you look at his ultimate, and he's like, wait, this guy doesn't die as a support.
Yeah, you need like a Timbersaw and then like an OD to like burst him instantly, or else you're just going to lose the fight. And he just does so much damage. That's the big problem. Like the stun and Acid Spray just... And you can Rocher... Oh, God, he's a good hero.
Yeah. And the thing about it, they're like easy spells to get off to. You have like a 7-second window for Concoction.
Yeah.
You have
in Dota 1, if the timer runs out when it's traveling, it just explodes midair. But in Dota 2, it just as long as you launch at a time, it just follows you all the way.
A Slark pick.
And no Miguel in this game. So who's going to be playing it is the big question.
It's going to be a carry Slark.
You think it's a one position?
I don't
Slark?
think it's not going to be a mid Slark. Hani does not play Slark. It's not a Hani hero.
I mean, it could be a Trixie like off lane, and then they run Alk support, but that's
And Timber mid.
Yeah, maybe it's not really.
That's also not a Hani hero.
He
though.
plays it occasionally, but I've seen him play it occasionally. But yeah, it's definitely not like a go-to hero for him.
Yeah.
And seems like our custom draft screen has a few kinks to work out here, but looks pretty cool. Apparently, the draft hasn't started yet.
You can see the teams debating. See No Tail helping out there. All don't have their hands on their faces though.
They look pensive. Everyone's rubbing their face now.
Slark doesn't really have any debuffs to get rid of yet. I'm surprised they took him right now. He's like really good versus someone like Nyx Assassin. Ooh, the Viper pick from Alliance. You guys can't actually see the draft, but the next pickup by Alliance is Viper, so we could just see a mass heal for Viper. I've seen that strat before, like Abaddon Viper.
Build your unkillable Viper with like tree armor, aphotic shield, stuff like that.
It's okay. The only thing about it, he doesn't do that much damage unless you focus him.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you leave him alone in a fight, it's like, well, he's annoying, but we'll get through it because we'll kill everybody else.
And he does damage very slowly compared to like other carries, like OD, Lifestealer. I mean, pretty much any carry does more burst than him. Gyro is another good example.
If you can just like avoid him, especially with like an OD or something like that, you just Astral him and then just worry about him later.
And this team is good at avoiding people. Slark's very elusive, Timbersaw is extremely elusive, and Viper also does not have a stun, so you can still Timber Chain away, won't be interrupted. They actually still have 0 stuns. And now the Hani Invoker comes out.
I must favor Fnatic's draft. Like, even from the first 2 picks, the Alchemist and the Timbersaw, I think that it was already pretty strong. And then looking at the Viper pick from Alliance, it's lackluster.
Nuclear launch detected. I'm hoping for some big Hani Sunstrikes here. He had some amazing ones at D2L, which you were casting. Very impressive. But he had the, what was it, like in the, I think it was on the Radiant side shop, he just blindly Sunstrike somebody, didn't actually know it, just like, he's gonna juke there. Nails it, but we'll have to see if he delivers here. And obviously, this is just more burst damage for Fnatic. Very bursty lineup against 2 very squishy supports, Enchantress and Wisp.
They have much better gank than Alliance, too. Like, Alliance, if Enchantress ganks a lane, it's still difficult to get a kill, especially on Slark or Timbersaw.
Look at this.
EO can't really do that much early. Ooh, the Duskbin.
I just noticed that right now. My goodness.
Maybe they were scared of the Wisp inch.
That Wisp Enchantress, this shows that, I mean, Fnatic has done their homework, because that tri-lane just, was it Vici that they were playing, or LGD?
I think it was Vici.
It was
Siler.
That tri-lane was brutal. And a support that fucking Mad was saying has, or even a solo mid potentially, a hero that's really kind of risen to prominence lately is Shadow Shaman. You mentioned the potential to Roche very early by war trapping him. Also a very strong pushing hero, but another squishy, fairly immobile hero against a team full of burst damage and lockdown.
He's very bad versus Slark too. Like Slark will just Dark Pack and just kill Shadow Shaman like every time they're in a fight. So Alliance's lineup, I don't really know how they're going to stand up versus damage output from Fnatic.
It seems like they might be leaning towards a kind of rounding out with some more push here. Viper, Shadow Shaman, Enchantress, pretty heavy on the push. Do you think they go not all in, but for another strong pushing hero? Or if not, what do you go for? Is it? I guess the big question is, what's Bulldog going to play?
They go like Pugna push, but I mean Lone Druid push. It's so-so.
Fnatic actually banned Chaos Knight, and I guess it's going to be just a Viper Wisp partner or pairing, because I feel like it's got to be a Bulldog hero now, right?
I believe so.
Bounty Hunter. Not that great against Slark.
Fnatic rounds their lineup up. Oh, Lifestealer, he's okay here.
Good against a lot of these Fnatic heroes. You did mention there's still a lot of physical damage though. There's the Acid Spray.
There's a lot of physical damage.
Yeah, Acid Spray minus armor, the Unstable Concoction, and the Venge with her
Force Spirit,
and the right click from Invoker. This is gonna hurt. I mean, even with Rage.
Force Spirit too.
Yeah, Force Spirits as well. Well, with that being said, Merlini, it's time for game 1 of our first best of 3, Alliance versus Team Fnatic. And let me just quickly fix my camera settings here. Looks like they did not save. Okay, here we go. On the dire side, we have the Alliance, the Swedes. Ake going to be playing the Enchantress. EGM, the EO, Admiral Bulldog handling the Viper. You can hear the crowd giving it up for both teams. Loda on the Lifestealer. S4 going to be playing that Shadow Shaman. And that does round out the Alliance. And then on the Radiant side, we have Team Fnatic.
Yeah, it looks like they're all 5 headed to the woods right now. We see Era in front on the Slark. We see No Tail closely behind him on the Alchemist. See Trixie on the Timbersaw. Hani on his signature Invoker, and a Fly on the support Vengeful Spirit.
So both teams going defensive off the bat here. Nobody really looking to contest the enemy jungle. Alliance are running some fairly aggressive heroes like Enchantress, Lifestealer. You see these, there's the option to go aggressive tri-lane early on. A Wisp isn't normally the strongest aggressive tri-laner, but with an Enchantress Lifestealer, that can be dangerous. But for now, seems like Alliance is not going to contest. They are sending Loda off lane. And remember, Loda is the one doing the drafting now for this team, but what do you make of the lane so far? Should Alliance just be going defensive here?
Since they don't have a good offlane hero, yes, I think so.
You don't think Lifestealer with like Enchantress backing up is enough there?
In the offlane?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not going to stand up versus a tri-lane, though.
And Fnatic have a very scary tri-lane, especially mainly because they have Alchemist. Like,
Alchemist, he's
like,
already smoked too.
He's like the new Visage in a way, it feels. Just the hero that just wins the laning stage for you.
Yeah, they're going to put a lot of pressure, it looks like, on Bulldog as well as Aki early. They can kill Aki, especially since he won't have his heal at level 1. We need to see where he's going to go. They might actually be going on S4.
Wrapping around, the stun now being channeled. This could be pain time for S4. Great positioning, but just not great enough against that unstable concoction. It will fly. There's the stun. Follow-up comes from Fly. Perfect chain stun. First blood will go to Fnatic. And the crowd goes fairly wild. Pretty enthusiastic bunch this early on.
Yeah, they're really capitalizing on the weak early game of Alliance. And they're doing exactly what they should be doing in their early game. Getting kills with their very aggressive Alchemist and Vengeful Spirit. Probably two of the best level 1 heroes in the game. Straight
to the top lane they go. They've already clarity'd up on Fly. He did get off a healing salve, and they did juggle the tower aggro nicely there so that he was able to salve up, and now they head straight towards Bulldog, playing a safe lane Viper. Really not a hero that we're accustomed to seeing him on, and he could be in trouble here. He backs off for now, and the wave will push, but they could also go hunting for Ake. With the burst damage they have, any one hero they catch will probably die. And meanwhile, you look at Alliance's off lane.
There's a smoke from Aki.
Alliance's Ake will smoke up, but Alliance's off lane, they can't kill Era. Like, they can't punish any of these heroes right now, it feels. Maybe Hani. Hani's probably the one they could gank. And it looks like that will be the plan.
S4 has shackle up, but I mean, are you really going to be able to like walk up and shackle him?
Top lane, Bulldog's been caught out of position. A few stuns, one more right click, down he goes. Fnatic are on a roll, 2-0. Less than 2 minutes in, and now it's Ake's turn. Can he strike back? Going on the Slark, this is the hardest hero to gank. If they're going for him.
Arrow actually pounced into him.
He's feeling very confident here. And he does have that early point in Dark Pact, so can debuff all these stuns. And in fact, Ake's going to be spotted here. Great observer ward from Fnatic. They will dive Era now. He has no leap. He Dark Packs off the slow, but he's taking a lot of damage. Could salve up. Looks to be dead. Salving, juking through the trees, but the stun finds him. Beautiful play from Ake. 2-1.
That was just a big misplay from Era though earlier. He didn't have his pounce up when
used it offensively.
Yeah, he used it offensively, and he actually missed too. So I'm not really sure what he's trying to accomplish in a 1v2 scenario, but he should not be using his pounce in an offensive situation like that, especially when there is a threat of an Enchantress coming around.
We do have a quick pause here, guys. It appears that Trixie doesn't have sound.
I don't have sound either.
Yeah, I don't have sound either. Hopefully the stream does. But it's going well for Fnatic. Pick Alk, have a good time.
Yeah, it's really on the support so in the early game. We see Aki already pick up 1 kill, and No Tail and Fly duo already picking up 2. So we're talking about 2 minutes into the game. And this is kind of how you expect the game to go, because Fnatic is trying to keep Wisp under-leveled and take advantage of Shadow Shaman's extremely weak early game. He has 1 armor, too, so he's just going to get wrecked by Concoction.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how he fits into the picture later on. It was interesting because they went for the Shadow Shaman, and they already had Enchantress and Viper. And Viper can kind of be that
greedy of a lineup, I'd say.
That like tanky frontline hero. And then they went back for Lifestealer, who doesn't really push that early. His laning presence is not what it used to be. I mean, back when Open Wounds actually had a range to it, you could initiate force fights and go for a lot of kills. They did get that 1 kill bottom, but if Shadow Shaman gets shut down early mid, I mean, he's useless later on.
Yeah, and Hani likes to go Orchid a lot on Invoker. If you just silence your biggest threat, whether it be Shadow Shaman or Lifestealer, they're going to be in for a lot of trouble.
And we are back into it, guys. Now it's Fnatic's turn to make their 3rd move of the game, 2 for 2, looking to make it 3 for 3, as Era will TP back bottom. And they wrap around on Bulldog here, who's just not been given much space so far this game. Under duress from the Timbersaw. He is 10-4, CSing well, but constantly has to worry about these ganks. And the reason is, Ben, he has zero vision in his jungle. He has no idea where these supports are. In fact, they don't even have a ward towards the top room.
Era's actually going to chase Aki. He knows that he's creeping this camp right now, and he's going to find him. Is there going to be a Sunstrike or something to help out?
There is a heal available here. At the same time, the leap comes through, taking a lot of damage. Juking as much as he can. The Essence Shift starting to work, but it's not enough to get the kill. Meanwhile, middle lane, they dive S4. They'll get the Shadow Shaman again. Punished by Fnatic. Loda does TP in and looks for the turnaround here as Fly retreats out. And Fly, Forward Spirit coming in. Look for the body block. Nothing yet. I think should be okay. Nice Ice Wall. Hani gets him out of jail.
Great awareness by Fly there. He was initially going to run down straight into Aki, notices him with the ward, and then runs left. And now they force Loda away from the lane. So Alliance is scrambling to win their lanes right now. I think everyone has taken a hit. We've seen S4 die twice. We've seen Admiral Bulldog die once on top and on the bottom lane. Loda isn't like exactly free farm, and he has to use a TP too. So if he's going for early mine, it's not going to come out from like the 5-minute mark like we sometimes see.
As strong as Shadow Shaman is offensively, he is very weak defensively compared to a lot of the other solo mids we see, like Puck, Timbersaw, Dragonite, tanky heroes, elusive heroes. Shadow Shaman is neither of these things, and just Fnatic really exploiting the weakness of
Fly
that
with the
solo
Invis
mid.
rune, he scouts out S4. He's looking for backup, but Alchemist is nowhere to be found.
Well, this could have been an opportunity, but with 2 here, and S4 now picking up his bottle. Tough dive for him. And we will see just Fnatic kind of content to go back to jungling. They've had that aggression. They got the boots up on No Tail. Actually, this is going to be another kill mid. S4 caught out of position. The stun comes through. A few more right clicks will bring him down. Another death for the Shadow Shaman. And Hani's out of control. 3-0-0.
No Tail charging up a stun.
Yeah, Loda could be caught out here. He will rage dodge the stun. Still takes the damage, but can retreat out.
I think one big part of Alliance's early game is that they actually had very poor wards at the start. They had a ward down here, but there was almost, they didn't even touch bottom at all, the 2 supports from Fnatic, at least not until recently.
Yeah, and meanwhile, top lane, Bulldog trying to find Trixie, or is he being caught out here? The Timber Chain coming through, as well as the Chakram. The Timber Chain off the mark, but he's got another one. Jams it in, gets the kill. Fnatic's on fire. Make it 5-1.
I'm surprised he didn't just like run up over here. If he runs up over here and straight in the middle of the lane, he can actually get hit by a... Oh,
they're not done yet. They go into S4, another kill on the Shadow Shaman. 6-1, just
this
brutal.
is brutal. Yeah, this is getting ugly.
I mean, 33-67 did feel very not representative of the matchup to me, but Fnatic, give them credit. They're coming out swinging, and I mean, you mentioned the warding, but I do feel a lot of this is just coming down to the way Alliance drafted. Their heroes are just not the strongest in lane, and they can't punish a hero like Slark or Timbersaw.
But with the draft, you know exactly what Fnatic's going to do.
Yeah.
And they just roam around early, get a ton of kills, and their wards did not set up appropriately. Like, why would they gank a Lifestealer when there's a Shadow Shaman in mid?
And you mentioned it, Fnatic are the team of these two that likes to roam more. You see the draft, you know
they're
style.
smoked up again. They're looking for another kill.
I think, fortunately for Alliance, this is their last smoke. I believe that is the 3rd. It might be the 2nd. No, sorry. They have 1 more in reserve, so they still have another smoke available. Well, 1 will fail, but now it's Alliance's turn to smoke. They're trying to make a go here. They do find Fly in the river, but they're going to have to dive him. Open Wounds comes through. Tether is available. It was actually used on S4. They're also trying to focus the Invoker. Fly's low. Fly will fall. Alliance striking back here, but now S4 in trouble on the run. Still alive. Era retreating to the south. He has no leap. He's got stick charges. Trying to wait for the last possible second. Pops it now. Has the leap. Trying to run. Can't get out. He'll go down 6-3. Alliance striking back.
Wisp did a really good job of keeping up S4 there. He was getting focused pretty hard by Sark as well as Invoker, but did not drop at all.
That early value point and overcharge making a big difference.
Yeah, it's really good. You need to be able to take damage too so that you can actually heal people up.
You know, it used to be we'd see players skip it, but ever since the change to Tether where it no longer stuns, this definitely seems like the stronger build.
Well, they also fixed it so that if you're at full HP and full mana, you don't grant regeneration to your ally.
Right,
so
right.
you have to be not at 100%.
So then you have to like damage yourself in order to heal your teammate. And we will see Loda now aggressively farming the enemy jungle. Alliance, they've just not abandoned. Oh, we'll have a little lag skip there. Nothing too serious though. They kind of abandoned this off lane though. They're leaving the Timbersaw alone, making an aggressive move into the enemy jungle, but now forced back the stun onto Ake, the Enchantress, forced to retreat. No Tail, another stun, beautiful from Ake. And that will be No Tail now stunning himself. And there's our in-game audio.
That was a really good stun from Ake there.
And they're going Roche, ward trap. There we go. You mentioned it. But this will be contested. Or at least Fnatic wants to contest.
It's a little obvious, I'd say. from Alliance. Usually you want to smoke in there when they have no idea where S4 is going to be.
Or ideally like catch them when they rotate top, but they just charge straight into the
Also,
pit.
Fly uses Terror on Roshan too, instead of just getting vision with it over here.
Here comes that Alk stun. He unloads on Ake. Doesn't have a heal. No mana available. Now the chakram coming through. Remember, they don't have wards in the fight. They're only in the pit. No tail. Dropping fast. He drops acid spray, but that may just help Alliance kill off this Rose. S4. He's going to claim it. No, he goes down. I think Aegis hits the deck there.
Hani got it.
Hani ends up walking in. Grand Theft Aegis. EGM will come back, however, and it's really chaotic at this point. Fly's going to fall. 3 now dead. Hani, he took the Aegis, but at what cost? Tries to run, can't run, he'll go down. A lot of deaths, a lot of blood was spilt this day just to steal that Aegis.
That was...
And who got the Roche kill there? Did you see?
Dyer got the Roche kill.
Okay. So Dyer gets the Roche kill. Fnatic steals the Aegis but promptly loses it. And in the end, I believe they lost 3 there. 3 for 1?
There was a buyback?
Or 3 for 2.
I'm not exactly sure. There were a lot of deaths. There was a lot of action there.
Yeah.
it was really hard to tell.
That this is where a team fight recap feature would be pretty handy. But, well, here Alliance going to rotate through the enemy jungle. Maybe looking to put some pressure on this bottom tower. And still, we have not seen the tower fall yet this game, Merlini. Great early pushing heroes. The Venge is decent. The Invoker's really strong. And, of course, a lot of these Alliance heroes are good at pushing, especially Enchantress and Shadow Shaman. But as of yet, no towers have fallen.
Alliance is actually ahead in gold, even though they're behind by 3 kills after that Roshan engagement. And that was just, I mean, Fnatic knew exactly what they were up to, but they couldn't stop it because Alliance wasn't actually low at all because Roshan isn't doing any damage.
S4, not again, my friend, not again. He gets off the wards. Now the Wisp comes, the turnarounds here. Alliance, they get 1. They will lose S4. Yes, the Fort Spirit barely claims his life, but Hani out of Invokes here for quite some time. Loda just going to man mode on him, slaps him down. 2 for 1.
That Orb of Venom doing a lot of work, though.
You may think you know how to deal with Wisp, but you never really do.
Era
when the time comes. Yeah, Dark Pack's about to end here, but the Alk stun connected on 2 along with the acid spray. Alliance low, but not dead yet, and Bulldog diving. Dark Pact will does not remove Viper Strike anymore. Actually, No Tail might be the one to pay here with his own life, as we will see the Slark barely able to live. Shadow dances and gets away.
The game has completely changed now that Alliance has level 6.
This was 6 to 1, and now it's 10 to 9.
Yeah, well, once they got level 6 on Rasta as well as Wisp, they just
and the Courier actually
so much work.
Who's Radiant Courier just went down. Had a point booster on it as well. Big kill. I did not see how that died. Meanwhile, bottom lane, EGM getting caught out of position here, but Tether's away to safety. 1 more leap should be enough to bring him down. Tether now cooling down, and the leap's there. The Pounce will latch him. He will fall. But Alliance still getting the better trades here overall after a pretty horrific start. The tower kill is a great relocate to turn that top fight around, as well as the Roche fight actually working out very well for them.
Everyone's going tank builds on the side of Alliance. We see a Treads build up from EO. We see Viper also going Treads, and we see Shadow Shaman going Treads too. So they're just looking to tank up and survive the initial Unstable Concoction and Vengeful Spirit ganks. Fly is actually really hurting on levels, as well as No Tail, level 4 and 5 respectively. And compare that to the Wisp, who's level 7.5, even after that most recent death.
You know, Merlini, I think the thing that probably the biggest tide turner as well is that Bulldog has this mech now, and you look at Fnatic, they're not even close to a teamfight item like a mech. Invoker's actually going for an Orchid early on from Hani.
Yeah, he likes that build a lot.
Do you think it's good this game?
It's okay. I'd say he needs a little bit more move speed, so he doesn't get caught out by EO or Viper or Lifestealer. Like, if he gets slowed attack once by Viper, he's going to die in a fight.
Force Staff is a really popular choice against Lifestealer and Viper, but we're not going to see it here. There is a relocate available if they needed to get Loda out of trouble, but he'll be okay. Meanwhile, Ake smoked up, heading towards the top rune, but now backs off, heads towards mid, as Alliance prepares for an aggressive dive. Fnatic are pretty ready for this, though. They're going to unload with another Unstable Concoction. It goes on the Loda once again. He didn't get off his rage. It was cooling down. Now they cold snap him. He has rage available, and in comes a parade of infantry. 1 falls. Now they latch on to Hani. They're going to pull him in. Pop back out. Infest is there. Alliance secure 3 kills and just storm forward. Fnatic collapsing after an amazing start. Just not able to keep up the pace.
Trixie needed to be there for the fight. They need him as a front line. Slark doesn't have enough items right now. Alchemist isn't level 6 yet. Invoker doesn't have any survivability either, and they have to have him up there.
And not having that point booster really hurts him in this game. I mean, that's a big value item to pick up early on.
Is that even his?
Yeah, his point booster was the one that died, I believe. I believe it was his. Yeah, it's still on the dead courier. As they'll go in S4 here, and they should be able to get the kill. But they might pay for it. Loda jumps in, looking for No-Tail, slapping and chopping. No-Tail tanky, but not tanky enough. 50 HP regen ain't nothing for me, he says. Trixie will fall, potentially could be the next in line. Bulldog, mech available, could pop it. Not doing so yet, there's a tether. There was a relocate out, but doesn't get it off in time. Now EGM, he'll TP out. Is there a stun? There's a leap, there's a tornado. He's gonna fall as well. Turn of the tides, 14-13. Fnatic
EGM was tethering him, and he thought that I thought that he was going to mech right as soon as he tethered, and then he would have gotten like a burst,
double
like
heal.
500 heal.
And they also could have relocated him out, but they didn't try to do that either. If they had done the burst heal and then relocate, I think he would have lived for sure.
Alliance has taken the map by storm, though, and now that Roshan is going to respawn in a couple of minutes.
I mean, they see like everything. These wards are amazing. Now I know Alliance was talking about how they, in the pre-game interviews, the press conference, they said they felt like they don't like the change to smoke because it kind of teams used to be rewarded for really good sentries and anticipating smoke ganks. Now they're not, but we could still see the power of those good aggressive observer wards really giving them the map control.
They need Slark to deward them. Slark actually has pretty much been a non-factor, I'd say, in this game. There's like so much damage going around that he can't really stay in the fight and do that much damage and steal that much from Essence Shift. Like, he's usually decent versus Lifestealer, but it doesn't seem like he's having an effect at all in this game. Loda's actually pretty farmed too. He has a Drums, a Sage, and a Phase Boost already.
Quite
so 5, 1, and 4, yeah.
Nobody's CSing much though this game. The max CS is like 4 CS a minute. It's all about kills. 8-3-1 on the Invoker, 5, 1, and 4 on the Lifestealer. It's really been a bloodbath. 27 kills, only 14 and a half minutes.
I mean, he has 8 kills, but he doesn't even have his Orchid yet. 14 minutes in.
I'm loving this style of play from these teams. You look at Fnatic Alliance and you go back 4 or 5
there
months.
it is.
This could have been a pure rat Dota game. Just Bulldog Prophet, Bulldog on Druid, Loda on a Phantom Lancer. But the times have changed, Merlini.
Wisp equals kills.
It most certainly does. A lot of these heroes just like to fight early and often, especially on Fnatic's side. But after a lot of early engagements, they've been lacking opportunities to fight, and now they smoke his 5, but look what a kind of like an obvious smoke it is. The middle lane, bottom lane, and top lane all pushing in. They're going to try to make up for how obvious it is by just going outrageously deep into enemy territory, possibly diving past the tier 1, but if they dive here, they're going on to 5 heroes who could well be ready. Do they just backdoor the tier 1? Is that the choice? Yes, it is, and Loda, he'll just TP out. Well, they force out a glyph. They might get a tier 1, but it's something.
They're losing out on farm to all 3 lanes, though.
Yeah, and this tower will be there later.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it for them.
It almost feels, I wouldn't say a desperation move, but like they're really digging deep to be doing that.
Alliance, I think, saw that coming, too. They pinged out over here, and now they might get a T2 in exchange.
And they will. They'll look to anyway. S4 dropping the Serpent Wards, as we'll see a TP come in from Trixie. But he'll back off, and, well, these will be some extra much-needed gold for Fnatic here. Ward's not particularly effective against Timbersaw. He will get zapped up, though. Now the relocate comes. They're going to dive him. Trixie gets swapped out. Nice job by Fly, keeping him alive. Good damage from the Evoker, but not enough to get a kill. Now Era jumps in. They bring down 1. The Courier joining the party as well. Era now latched up. Can't escape. 3 down. Only the Wisp to trade. And once again, Alliance on the winning end of that trade. No Tail on the back foot. It'll be a 4-for-1. They're just getting overwhelmed. Alliance storming forth. 17-16, but it feels like a lot more. Well,
they have no solution for a Lifestealer. Like, usually the Miner's armor is okay, but when he's this big relative to Fnatic, it's just not enough.
And the other thing is the early mech on Viper and having Wisp make this Lifestealer way harder to kill.
Yeah, and having Wisp have a lot of levels, too. Like, EGM is almost level 9 at this point, too.
Yeah, already 2 points in overcharge and more to come. This Lifestealer, deceptively tanky. And, I mean, on paper he looks tanky, but he's even tankier than that. And same will soon be the case for Bulldog, building towards an Aghanim Scepter and not far off of it. You give an Aghanim Scepter to Viper at like the 22 to 25 minute mark, that's going to be big trouble for Fnatic.
Yeah, and you give Lifestealer an Aegis too, and I don't think they're going to be able to kill him once, let alone twice.
Now the Force Staff coming out. S4 just getting kind of a nice counter initiation item for his team, and also Force Staff into Hex. It's not quite a blink, but just a more versatile pickup from him. And now Alliance, a lot of ways to start fights. The Force Staff into Hex, relocate. Bulldog can just charge in and soak up damage, so too can Loda. And you could just see from the way Fnatic are playing, they're really bottled up here, Merlini. And so the question becomes, if you're Fnatic, how do you break this contain? How do you get out of this like being on the back foot position that they've been stuck in.
They had like okay late game as far as our lineup goes, but when the Slark is just under farm, you can't play the farm more against the Lifestealer.
There's no Invoker Midas.
Yeah.
Trixie went mech. He didn't go straight Bloodstone. So they didn't really go for like the ultra greedy farm build.
They can't play the farm game. What they need to do is contest the next Roshan. If they give it the next Roshan to Lifestealer is going to be way too big for them to deal with. And Orchid is okay, but it just came out a little bit too late. And
I feel like this is a game where, like, normally maybe you can silence the Lifestealer and just focus him down, but when he's backed up by Wisp and Mech, it's just not going to happen. So it's just not working out. Well, now the mech comes out, but for Fnatic, it's an 18-minute mech on Trixie because he went for this Arcane Boots point booster. Then he didn't get to use the point booster because the Courier got sniped, and, well, he finally is the mech now. Normally a tide-turning item. Could still be important versus Alliance. They do a lot of damage over time here, especially from the Viper, so keeping your HP up means less Nether Toxin damage, but not going to help you as much against the Lifestealer.
Yep, Aki doing some scout work right now because Fnatic has burned through so many smokes. Alchemist, as good as a start as he had, only has Brown Boost Medallion, a Magic Stick, and a TP Scroll, and that's it.
Normally when a team with an Alchemist gets ahead early, they can just transition into like a farm game. Stack the jungle, he focuses, like gets like 1 point Greevil's Greed, just gets level 9, and you know, he doesn't AFK farm, but he gets up some core items for the team. Instead, it's like Trixie who's kind of been forced into that position of getting the mech when you'd ideally love for the Alchemist to have it. And Fnatic, at this point, a lot of heroes that need farming levels. Venge, you really want to hit 11. That's not coming anytime soon. The Alch doesn't even have stun doesn't have Acid Spray maxed, and wants to have some more tank items. Because sure, he's got all this HP regen, but he's still very squishy.
They also weren't able to translate any kills into tower kills early. The only tower kill they got was from the 5-man smoke. Now Roshan's up, S4 is doing it again. And, I mean, do you think this Shadow Shaman Roche Ward threat is broken enough to be patched out?
Yeah. Well, I just think it's stupid. You know, like it should be in the game.
Right.
Whether it's broken or not, it's...
I don't really think it was that big of a game changer. I guess, I mean, the first time that we saw Alliance get the gold lead was exactly when that Roshan fight happened. So I guess it put Fnatic in a really bad situation where they just didn't want to give them a free Aegis.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't necessarily say it's broken because Shadow Shaman brings a lot of other issues to the table as well.
Right.
Like sure you can pick Ursa. He's great at killing Roche, but that doesn't mean he's broken, right? Shadow Shaman great at killing Roche, but comes with a lot of downsides and got completely shut down early. I feel like the Shadow Shaman could have been a huge liability this game as we do unpause and hop back into it, guys. But Alliance just had a few clutch fights, and that really made the difference.
Yeah, they really did. I think that EGM has been playing extremely well, too.
Yeah, this Wisp play has been... It's been just every bit as good as No Tails, as we will see it relocate onto the bottom lane. They go for Trixie. The 4-step Hex finds him. Trixie dead to rights. He's got a mech here, but ain't getting out of this one.
Yeah, he's been involved in 16 of 18
Oh, they
kills.
can go back and kill Hani. Hani's sticking around.
Nope.
Nope. Just EGM. Interesting. I thought he would bring him back and go for this kill, but maybe thinking Hani's got backup and decides to play it safe.
And now that Loda, sorry, who has the Aegis? S4 actually has the Aegis. Now that they have the Aegis, they can definitely take another fight. They're looking to just starve Fnatic out right now. 1 T2 tower down already, looking for another 2. Era is just really poor. Forced to go to Drums build too because he needs a little bit more HP.
Unfortunately, a little more HP against a lot of damage from Lifestealer and Viper. Not going to end in your favor, it feels.
They don't have the burst for Lifestealer though.
They don't have the burst for him. They don't have the reliable lockdown that goes through BKB. We mentioned they have the Rage, but we mentioned they have the damage, but that's where it ends. And now the wards come out, and with S4 having Aegis, don't be surprised to see a 4-staff Hex even into the enemy base. He can get 1 kill, die, come back, and do it all over again. But for now, it's a set of wards for a tier 2. A trade they'll be happy to make if Hani going for the trade. And he may get a tier 2 or at least bring it low. Nope, not even going to get that. Alliance taking and giving nothing back. And will we see a relocate here? It is available in 1 second's time.
I'm actually not sure why Fly did not max his stun. He went for a 3 terror build. It's okay, I suppose. I think maybe if they had like a Shadow Fiend instead of Invoker, it'd be better. But with the three wave of terror, like you use your stun a lot, and that stun is just so important at being able to burst people down. 100 to 325 damage is a very, very big difference.
Yeah, and if Alliance don't get bursted, they win the fight. Because Lifestealer gets stronger as the fights go on.
They get relocated out. Yeah. They want to heal.
They mech, they tether and run away and come back in when Rage is off cooldown. They infest and pop back out. You need the burst. But at this point, I don't know if it would be enough anyway. To be honest. Like, Lotus sitting on...
It might have led to better early mid engagements, though.
That's true. At this point, it may be too late for Fnatic. The hour is late for game 1, but it is a best of 3. No matter what happens.
Yeah, I thought Fnatic was going to get wrecked. Or, sorry, was going to wreck Alliance with his draft. But
and the way the game developed.
Alliance is playing extremely well.
This is just pure comeback Dota. Selecting good fights. And, I mean, the one thing about the Shadow Shaman wards in the Roshan pit is it did force Fnatic into a very uncomfortable position. They had to dive past Roche just to snatch the Aegis. They got trapped in the pit. The wards did a little bit of damage to them during that time. And, sure, they stole the Aegis, but Alliance got that gold. And the gold is really adding up for them now. They have a blink on S4. They could look to leap. He'll blink. He'll stun. He'll drop the wards as well. Hani on the run. No Tail dropping fast. He'll take a fall. And now Trixie on the backside trying to retreat. Will he be able to survive? It doesn't look like it. Loda and Bulldog still at half HP. There's a hood on Bulldog. This Viper just ain't going to die. And this is looking worse and worse for Team Fnatic here. Loda, Alliance, they'll take down the tier 2.
They can't even kill Aki.
They got S4, but, I mean, a job well done. He can die after he's done that.
They've taken down all the T2s already, yeah.
Systematic Dota from Alliance. If you give this team a lead, probably one of the best teams in Dota at protecting that lead.
And now Fnatic has no map control. They're all huddled inside our T3 right now. They cannot escape their base because they're scared to relocate ganks. And I'm surprised he didn't actually relocate S4 out, but going for long shot right now. Loda doing the Ancients while he senses something is up and TP's out before they even get there.
EGM, enter God mode with these spidey senses. Just right when he needs to run, he's going to. Did I jinx him? I jinxed him, Merlini. He's going to get caught out now, and he will go down.
It was also a 6-second TP. I think if it was a 3, he might have been able to get away.
I feel bad. Sorry, EGM. That's my bad. Blitz is probably very mad at Reed right now, but for the time being, Fnatic, they'll try and transition that kill into a tower push, and this is only going to be their second tower of the game. The tier 1 falls mid. Fnatic showing a small pulse here, a small sign of life, but they need a lot more than that. They're still down over 15k, 10k experience, and just key items for Alliance. I mean, better initiation, for now, better team fight, but like you mentioned, Merlini, if Fnatic gets their feet back in this game, their lineup goes quite late.
Fnatic can't ever get the jump on Alliance, though. That's the thing. Like, Alliance's positioning has been really good, their map awareness has been really good, and their heroes just lend to not getting initiated on.
And, like, if you catch Bulldog, you're not killing him before he gets to use mech and before the Wisp shows up, most likely.
I mean, he has a hood, too.
Pipe is coming for him, and Fnatic, with the Invoker kind of, and Timbersaw being the 2 main damage dealers, Slark doesn't have much at this point. Pipe is going to be really strong this game.
Pipe's exceptionally strong. I'm not really sure why it's not built more often. I think it's a really, really cost-efficient item, and it's really good for pushing up to T3. But yeah, Bulldog is extremely difficult to kill. If you go on Loda, you're going to lose a fight too, especially with him having AC at this point. You can kill S4. They really need to kill S4 early on in the fights, I think, before he drops his wards, if possible.
After just getting completely shut down mid and Fnatic putting so much pressure on him, his initiations have been picture perfect. I don't think he's gotten caught out once at the start of a fight this game. And
yeah, he's died 8 times, but usually they're for good reasons.
S4, I mean, very different from, you know, some other solo mids. Like you look at like especially like Mushi or even Denny, more like snowball type solos. But S4 just, you know, one of the very
he's a controller,
composed controller, exactly, like kind of like a Shao 8 style of solo mid, and really showcasing his resilience here after an awful start. It's almost like he didn't even lose mid. And they're diving bottom right now.
It really is.
There's your Viper strike on Nahani. Force Staff comes in, and they don't really need to force this. Just drop the wards, go to work on the tower. The stun comes out on Loda. The leap will miss, and now Era could be in a bad spot here. Loda dropping fast. Can he get bailed out? No bailout. Loda's dead, and Alliance must run. No relocate out.
I'm surprised he died there.
The mech and pipe were used, but they were able to focus him down.
Yeah, and overcharge, I believe. Yeah, I'm very surprised that he died there.
The only thing they could have done was relocate him out, but I feel like they felt they could take the fight and just weren't able to. Now they could lose Bulldog as well. Is this a turnaround? Once again, nope. Big bailout from EGM. Oi, oi, oi. What a player.
Is he going to be able to escape? That's the question.
They're trying to tether him out here, but I don't think he's
He has a Ghost Scepter. I think he may be...
Cold Snap? Yep.
Oh, okay. Never mind. No chance.
Orchid makes it an easy kill.
It's worth it, though.
Fantastic wisp play. And No Tail, he likes some Jerry.
Yeah, S4, oh, they still almost got the tower on bottom, even though they lost that fight for sure. The kill score is even right now. Alliance, they have definite control of the map right now, and if they take out the next Roshan, it's almost certainly going to lead to a RoX. So Fnatic cannot let that happen. They need to keep the Force Spirits up for scouting, need to have just good map awareness to prevent this from happening.
Yeah, meanwhile, Fnatic, they will move back through their own jungle and try to farm towards some key items at this point, which are feeling very late. I imagine we'll still see Trixie go for the Bloodstone, but it's almost so late, like it's not even worth getting it anymore. I guess could go Shiva's here. Hani getting a Hex would be really big for this team. Arrow will work towards an Eye of Scotty, but these key items, the only one they're really close to is maybe the Hex on Hani, but still like almost 2k gold away.
Slark might also be going for Lincolns.
Do you think? There's a lot of ways.
Scotty, I think, is better, but
there's quite a few ways to break it this game. Open Wounds, Enchantress Slow, 2 ways from Shadow, 3 ways from Shadow.
He can't get Hex, though. If he gets Hex, he's going to die. The Blink Hex initiation from Shadow Jump is really strong.
You can Ether Shock and then Hex, but it is a slight bit slower. We'll have to see what Era goes for, but either way, he's got to farm it. He's not there yet.
Yeah, he's not going to have enough. I don't think either item is going to really save him at this point.
So basically at this point, Fnatic are going to play the waiting game. They'll look for some key items. As for Alliance, still have room to scale, still go pretty late, but ideally with the Ags just complete on the Enchantress, Loda being really fat, they'd like to use this next Aegis and at least siege the base, if not take Rax. So look for Alliance to continue to be the aggressors and the ones really forcing the fights head on. Fnatic looking to be a little bit more sneaky and surreptitious about their ganks, find the pickoffs. We'll see if they can do it.
They just Fnatic just needs to wait for Alliance to make more mistakes. So if they make another mistake like that, where Lifestealer just dies at the start of the fight without exchanging it for anything, then yeah, Fnatic can't come back. But aside from that, it's really in Alliance's hands.
The tier 2 will fall, and obviously Fnatic has to be somewhat worried about a Roche. Not scouting it yet, and considering a push here, it's a tier 2 for a Roche. That will be the trade, it appears. And to be honest, given their position, not a bad trade.
It's the Aegis and the cheese.
That is true. Not a great trade, but
not a great trade.
I feel contesting it would be very difficult because the chances of them ambushing Alliance in the pit are way lower than ambushing them just out in the field on the map.
Yeah, but in the pit without Aegis Cheese as opposed to at the T3 with Aegis Cheese,
yeah. And wards
it's about the
dropped.
same.
It's pretty bad either way.
This tower's really low too. It's at 210 HP. It's almost certainly going to drop. They have a glyph, but you're not going to be able to kill the Rasa wards fast enough.
And obviously this is the point in the game where buybacks could really turn it around for Fnatic if Alliance overextends. Sure, they've got Aegis Cheese. You have some buybacks on your side, and they right now have one on Hani as well as Trixie, 2 of their key heroes. But if they save for buyback, that means they don't have the Hex. The Linked's components, he'll only be sitting, or the Scotty components, only be sitting on the one ultimate orb. And here comes the push. Fnatic, if they want to glyph, have to do it early. Chakram comes out. Timbersaw trying to slow it down, but Loda says, screw that. I'm going deep.
He also orchided a creep.
That's going to hurt. I mean, even if he didn't, though, this is going to be a hard fight. The stun comes through on Loda. He will be disabled for now, but he gets mech'd, he gets piped. He's still at half HP, and Infest pop back out. They're going straight for the Rax. Definite Blast is here. Alliance, just a calm and steady siege. Fly now slowed. Hard to engage, hard to wait. Alliance really out of options here, perhaps. Bodog, gets silenced, but they can't bring him down. Assess forward, the great counter initiation. They get 1 low. The buyback comes immediately from the Slark. Tornado now, the 1 buyback is there, but 3 have fallen. It's just overwhelming force from Alliance. They're dominating Fnatic here. Another Blake, another Hex. Throw the Imps, jam it in. Era, not going to fall though. He'll leap away to safety. But this will be a Rax for Alliance, and they have lost nothing for it. Not even the cheese.
Just can't get a good initiation though. Like they jump Viper. Viper is super tanky. You don't want to go on him. They try to kill Lifestealer early on in the fight, but he backs off and he has his Aegis. And if you do that, S4 is just going to get the perfect initiation. He got the Hex off on Hera, and
his positioning was great in that fight. Just sat really far back. Said when they jump, I'll just counter initiate. Didn't force the fight because this time he didn't have Aegis, so this time he doesn't want to be the one jumping in first. He's really come back nicely this game.
Fnatic has to come to them too because the wards are beaten down on their base.
That's the wards are. It's very similar to having a Pugno where he just keeps on walking up, blasts the tower back off. You can't just sit there. Eventually your tower will fall. Same thing here with the wards.
It forces the opponents to make bad decisions.
And in this case, they don't have the firepower. They just don't have enough damage, don't have enough lockdown. They need everything at this point. And in that fight, the one here they did not lose was Hani, so now he's got Scythe, and I don't think saving for buyback is going to change this game. They need more items on Fnatic.
Yeah, I think he should go for a Scythe too. Alliance, they should probably try and take another Rex before the Aegis expires. And
they've got a good amount of time to do it. Looks like about 3 minutes to go before the Aegis will expire. Quite a lot of time. And they'll go back to farming here. New items coming out soon for Alliance. Loda working towards the Abyssal Blade. We may see the Mask of Madness next for Ake if he wants to build it. And Enchantress can be the secret weapon in these team fights. It does scale very high, effectively into the late game. Even a Scythe now, or a Linken's perhaps coming out for S4 next. Either or would be great. Wisp, just the basics. Sanj, Heaven's Halberd, probably going to be the choice there. And, well, your Viper's got a Yasha. Mansa next. Alliance just making, I think, like the perfect item selections for this game. Tanky items, good pushing items, good utility items to counter the burst damage and initiation. They survive the burst and they win the fight. That's been the story of the past 10-15 minutes.
Honey is decently high on the net worth chart, so at number 3 right now at 15,000. I think the big loser here is Era on the Slark. He's behind the Timbersaw. He's just barely ahead of EGM's Wisp.
And now Alliance, they march fourth in the top lane. It's game 1 of a best of 3, and it could be a 1-0 lead for Alliance. It certainly feels that way. Leading by 17k gold. Marching onto the high ground. The creeps are pushing towards the bottom lane. There's no glyph here, and Hani now caught out. He's got a Scythe. The ward's getting dropped, and still tanky. No tail with Ghost Scepter. Dodging, stalling, baiting out the rage, but while that was happening, the bench did fall. Now Trixie on the run, and Alliance just crushing through Fnatic. There's too much damage here. They're just too tanky. Hani can't stand against it. In come the Ibs. He'll go down. And now they go for more. They want Trixie. They want the world. And they might get it. Trixie barely able to live. And No Tail will be the price to be paid here. At 20-26 your score. But Fnatic, this was not close after the 15 to 20 minute mark.
Yeah, that was just brutal. S4, I was A's MVP this game. Maybe Loda too. I don't know. I think all of Alliance played really well though. It's really difficult to take the game that commandingly after you get behind that far early.
GG. Alliance showing some real backbone here at Starladder Season 8, the LAN Finals. And there's a lot of money on the line. They had a great showing in the D2CL against Speed Gaming. And they're looking calm and collected here. I was worried about their mentality coming into this game. I think you were a little bit as well.
Calm and collected.
Yeah, this is just Alliance. They're just relaxed. They're Swedes. They don't show their emotions.
They don't even look like they won a game.
Well, you'll know when No Tail's winning because we'll be able to hear him from he's like 100 meters away from us. We'll still hear him yelling.
I guess in retrospect it was a good draft. I didn't see it coming, but
I feel like Fnatic took a lot of bad fights as well, though, after they got that early lead.
Which ones?
Like the Roche fight, they
you have to take it though, I think.
But do they have to take it so aggressively? Like they had like 4 heroes charging into the pit.
They were like there as soon as the Roshan started, so they definitely knew what was going on. They had like a 20 to 30-second window, I suppose. Like usually you can delay with Chakram, but they were just not able to do it. That was the big turning point of the game, though.
The Roche fight definitely turned the tides. And they stole the Aegis. It looked like a decent fight for them, but ended up Alliance got the Roche kill, which I think made a big difference.
I think the buyback from S4.
And the other key thing that you mentioned was that Alliance transitioned from kills into towers, and we never saw that from Fnatic. When they were taking towers, it's like they smoke gank to tier 1 and missed like 2 waves of creeps in 3 lanes to do it.
They also didn't get enough experience.
Venge and Alchemist, very level dependent heroes. They didn't have a Midas on Invoker
either. They needed
either.
swap early, like way early on, but they weren't able to get it.
And by the mid game, level 1 swap just doesn't cut it. They didn't have a great initiation. And I think the other key thing was the Wisp. The EGM's Wisp was just spectacular.
It was really good.
And it's where you might know how to play against Wisp, but you can only react so fast as a human when you're being attacked from one side and then all of a sudden Wisp relocates on top of you. You can't prepare for everything, Merlini.
I know. And Loda managed to find a ton of farm too, even after rotating mid to help out S4, which he didn't even get a kill out of it.
Well, Alliance, they've taken home a Starladder before. Can they do it again? We're going to find out soon, but for now, they lead 1-0 in the best of 3.
So what does Fnatic do in the second game? Ban Wisp? Because Alliance first picked Wisp and gave up an Alchemist.
And Timbersaw, who's very strong in this patch as well.
I would definitely say that Alliance lost the draft there, but they still won. So
you can't say they lost the draft.
So they can't.
Maybe they didn't win the draft. I think I still feel like they just outplayed Fnatic.
They outplayed them
And
really
like
hard.
a lot of it was just having heroes that are. They had. I think the other key thing was they had the Wisp, and they also had the early mech from Bulldog. And you look at what Trixie had. He had a point booster and arcane boots. The point booster was on the
Yeah,
courier.
if you went arcane mech, I think it
might have
been
had it by
different.
that team fight. All the courier might have died.
Slark had
delivering
no
it.
items either. Slark was picked way too early, and it just he's not that good versus Wisp. And
Who was it who was saying he's overrated? Was it fucking Matt earlier?
yes,
Yeah, and Miguel was telling us he was singing his praises.
he's okay versus
yeah.
some. He's situational, but
He's a good 1v1 hero in certain matchups.
yeah.
But he didn't get a great matchup.
He didn't do anything.
And I mean, Era did make some mistakes. Like you mentioned,
Oh, yeah,
using
the
Leap
pounce.
offensively,
Yeah.
that hurt them a lot as well. Just that early death gave a lot of experience to Alliance, who were offensive dual lane on the Dire. You don't get that much experience there.
They created so much room for Invoker, though. Like, I talked about before how the mid matchup was important, but S4 got dominated in mid by the supports, yet he still made a huge impact compared to what Hani did. And I think that's what makes a really good mid player. One that you can just make impact even when you're not given the opportunity to, really.
Yeah, with that being said, player of the game, who would you give it to?
That is tough.
I think EGM or S4 for me.
Yeah, I would say EGMS for Admiral. I mean,
It's funny because you look at S4, he's topping the death charts. He had a bad game, but his possession was great after the late
Admiral
decision.
Bulldog was 9-3 and 9-2, but I mean, Viper's just Viper. You can't really do like anything spectacular with Viper.